So we're going to do a little bit of a combination today with the objective of moving forward to specific strategies for the actual challenges that the people who come every week or drop by when they can are experiencing, so that we can personalize the effectiveness of the information, because information is all interesting when it's out here, but we need to find, my purpose in doing this is to build capacity for people to make actual change in their lives, and that being the change they want to make, not sort of what got covered that week, and trying to apply it. So I'm going to be asking for active participation today in the chat box. When I ask a question, I would like as many people as possible to answer, and the answers will be relatively simple, but they will reflect you. And then I'm going to take that away, and I'm going to compile a list of the comorbidities, those life challenges that people are living with, and we're going to work our way down by the most popular to the least frequent. All right. We're also going to try today, hopefully we've got some time, to start just a snippet of beginning an intro on procrastination, because when it's all said and done, it usually results in either procrastination or something that mimics it, a failure to move forward in the way that is meaningful to you. All right. So I'm going to start off with the absolute basics, and that is to remind you of what is the fuel that you're going to use. Two things. Remember, what are the key elements in motivating change behavior? First of all, that it is a high enough priority in your life today, not vaguely in a larger picture, but today it's a priority for you. And helping you to amp up that level of priority, so that when the incoming flux of, those missiles that visit all of our lives and threaten to derail us, when they start arriving, you have a clear focus. You do not have a vague feeling about it. It's a clear image. It's a clear picture, and you keep that in focus as your target. And it's about more. Remember this, hoarding is not solely about cleaning up. All right, there's a whole back piece that has to happen at the same time for it to be anything other than homework, which will be repeated and repeated and repeated and repeated. It's got to fit into the fabric and respect who you are and the challenges that right now you're living with, honestly and truly. So remember, we talked about being on my own side. I will be on my own side, and I will be for me. That's not a selfish statement. That's a statement of your worth in the context and combination of everything else, including the people in your lives. You need to be for you. You need to keep a clear vision, a clear sense of how you are also worthy, and you are also important, not more important, not less important, equally important. So you must factor your own needs into every day if you hope to make change in your life. Because we are all alive, okay, you as well are allowed, you will permit yourself to be a flawed, imperfect human being, just the way you were born and you were meant to be. I don't have to be perfect or meet the expectations of others unless I consciously choose to in specific situations. I refuse to be in an adversarial relationship with myself, constantly undercutting my foundation, constantly second guessing, constantly judging, constantly blaming, constantly shaming. I refuse to do that. And when I catch myself doing it, when I fall into an old trap, I will remind myself, you are good enough just the way you are. You aspire and want more, but if nothing changed, you yourself as a person are enough, and you're worthy of everything that you can imagine. And when I don't feel that good about myself, I will be kind and gentle with myself, especially when I experience the truth that I have in some way missed the mark in some important way to me. I will be kind and gentle. That doesn't mean I will excuse myself, but I will be kind with myself. I will be gentle with myself, and I will get back on track. Self-acceptance involves a willingness to experience what means I may not yet have enough skill or experience to be what I want and need to be to achieve the goal I've set. It's not a question of your personal inadequacy. It's a question that you haven't yet in some way got the knowledge that you need or the skills that you need. And you're allowed to be less than perfect. You're allowed to acquire that knowledge, to acquire those skills, and to ask for the support that you need. We've all needed support, myself included, when there were important challenges in our lives and I didn't have the knowledge or the skill. Okay, that became my task, not berating myself for not being enough. It does not mean that I should judge myself in an absolute way against ideal standards, okay, or what other people can accomplish. Well, they can do it. I don't know what's the matter with me that I can't do it. All right, that's the committee in your head. And accomplish, I'm not in line with the opinions of others. This does not mean I do not need to inspire or improve my choices. There still is an avenue, a road, a path to the change that you want and need to make. I want more. I will allow myself to be dissatisfied, but not go to the point of self-judgment, self-recrimination, and self-shame. And I also won't let others do the same to me. I'm on my way to where I want to be. The fact that I've not yet arrived does not mean that I am, or my efforts are inadequate or not good enough. I'm on my way. And it does not necessarily have to be a linear path. All right, sometimes there are setbacks and we overcome them. We regroup, we figure out what we need in that instance, where is it, and how do I get it? All right, and then we regroup and we start moving forward again and take the next hill or take the next pile. Every day I will continue moving forward in the direction I need to go. So last time we talked about who are you really? And now I want you, if you're willing, please, this really needs to be an active podcast today. I want you to tell me, who are you really? Okay. I asked you to really think about what one dream is that you have right now. And if it could be specifically about yourself, improving your knowledge and your skills and your ability to make what you want a priority, make yourself a priority, that's fine. If it's simply something about the clutter or the stress or the sense of overwhelm that you're living with, that's okay too. So does everybody know how to use that chat box? Could people put what, you don't have to put your name, and you don't have to put it to everyone. You can put it to me privately or to Jim privately, and we will see it. So what was that dream? What is that dream? I'm just going to go to the chat. Okay. Anybody? And remember, we were talking about 3 types of needs. So your desires. What are your 2 desires that you really want right now? All right, let's go down and see. All right. Okay. I'm not going to read who, but I am going to read what. Where did you go? Jump in here. Get rid of some of the boxes in my basement. Basements are really available storage space, and sometimes they do get out of hand. If you can tell me more about the boxes, all right, how long have they been there, and do you remember what's in them and why they were important enough to you to store them and keep them? Was it a matter that you just didn't have the time or energy to make the decisions? Or was it that you weren't going to need those things anyway, but you had no place to offload them or resolve them? Okay, because that's doable. To be healthy so that I can do what I want. Absolutely. Healthy in mind, body, and spirit. What are your needs? Do you know your needs? What are they? Whoever sent that to me, if you possibly can, it's private, so nobody else is going to see it. What are those needs? Let's start talking about what do I need, all right? I dream about being confident, waking up, and trusting myself with any challenge, just accepting that I can do it. If you can dream it, you can do it. It's just a matter of getting yourself organized, first of all, respecting who you are and what you need. You can't do it on nothing. The basis of this change is the right tools, the right state of mind that it is a priority, and really good self-care so that you've got the energy mentally, physically, and spiritually. All right, it's a balance. Remember the teeter-totter. Remember the teeter-totter, all right? You need to really work at that balance. Joy, fun, and play. I'm not kidding. Joy, fun, and play will fill you. You will feel like a different person. You will be a different person if you make a commitment to extract, squeeze out of every day the joy that's there that you're missing because you're not looking for it. And it doesn't have to be big. The littlest thing, so long as it respects who you are and what you value. All right? The smallest thing can fill you with joy. And the more you can find that. And in the book, I talk about a time when I was in a really deprived state of loss. And I just I was running on fumes. And I decided that I needed to spend more time, my downtime, on figuring out what do I need to get myself out of this, because it isn't like the cavalry's coming. Nobody, even if you have a spouse, a partner, family, it's not their job to give you what you need. You are the only one who knows exactly what you need and when you get it, all right, by experience. And so one day I was driving to work, and I remember thinking, oh, somebody up there, if there's anybody up there, send me something to look forward to. And even though I knew this was a temporary period in my life, it just seemed to be going on forever, and it was emptying me. And I looked up. I was in the country. I lived in the country then. I was driving in. I looked over to the right, and there was this completely glorious sunrise. And it sounds so hokey, but I only knew when I looked at it, I went, whoa, where have you been? How long have you been there? And I didn't notice it. It was my own involuntary response that I realized was telling me that's joy. You weren't looking for it. And how many days, how many times have you driven this road at this time and you never noticed something that was right there for you? Why? Because I was looking at the negative. I was looking at what was wrong and what I needed to fix and how I was feeling, and it was right there for the having. And I challenge you today, okay, and every day until we meet again, look for those things that are right there in front of you. All right? Just turn off the negative. It's not going to go away. Turn it off for a minute and give yourself a break and look for it. All right? So that's joy, fun, and play here. Don't lose the kid in you. The kid in you is that person, that part of you that dares to try, that wants to learn and will try new things. And it's in the new things that you'll find your way out of whatever situation, whether it's boxes in the basement or dreaming about waking up with increasingly more confidence. All right? And in the middle, what's in the middle, folks? Reminding yourself that you are a growing, learning, developing human being. Even though you may feel really overwhelmed and really stuck, you have the ability to remain a growing, learning, developing human being. And that gives you hope, because if for even a little time you can validate yourself for doing something a little better or knowing a little more about something that you really want to know more about, that will stick with you and that will feed your self-esteem. I may be down right now. I may be down right now, but that feeling of, you know what, I am a little better for knowing that. I am a little more competent at something. That will stay with you. And that is a piece that you can use to build that confidence. Yeah, maybe there's a lot of stuff I don't know, but I know that. All right. And what's the other end of the teeter-totter? It's just the work of everyday life. It's the picking up after yourself. It's the reminding yourself before you put it down and have to come back and pick it up. You know, it might just be easier to put this away now. All right. Rather than come back and have 5 jobs. Right? And then, it piles up. It becomes a habit to put it down just for now. The reason we don't use the word later is because later never comes. Do you realize that? I'll do it later. Later never comes. Later is that moving horizon. That's how the piles get created. The piles in our environment, but the piles here too. Okay? Okay. So let's have a look down here and see. All right. Yes, we've got a bunch new. Great. Yes, I'm the worst. Rather do anything else but declutter. I got to get the hang of this chat thing here. Yes, I would love to declutter, but it's overwhelming how much needs to be done. That is so true. That is so true. And so, you know who you are. That's why I'm saying, don't look at what remains to be done. All right? That is only going to overwhelm you. That's one of the main reasons why I suggest when you In that, just the boring everyday work we all have to do, when you get to that time, that 15 minutes that you start with, start strategically. Pick the spot that bothers you the most, all right, and start in one corner. There's no magic about what corner. Start and go back every work period, all right, every work period, every day. Go back and work, continuing to move it forward. And when you're tempted to get overwhelmed by what remains, look at what you've achieved. Right? When you focus or you allow the undone to be your main emotional reaction, I want you to imagine that really what you're doing is, it's like you're in a hole, all right, when you feel overwhelmed. And it's like you're digging yourself in deeper by looking at the negative. Start in one spot in the area that bothers you the most and work strategically. Just work one thing at a time. You will be surprised how much you can accomplish in 15, 20 minutes. All right? When you put your hand on something, you resolve that one thing. Never mind that there's 50 more things there. You'll get to them. All right? That one thing. Now, depending on how big the buildup is, okay, how significant that is, maybe when you go to figure out where you're going to put that, where its permanent home place is, maybe there's something else there in its place. That's okay. So long as you are not creating a health or safety hazard, right? And go back over the podcasts that we're going to be putting on the website, the whole podcast. Go back to Psychology Today. I do blogs there every week. Look for the safety blogs, the safety podcasts, all right? And because I don't want to get derailed now and have to go through the safety audit steps. Even though it feels like you're just moving something, a pile from here to there, you're not actually, all right? You're not actually, because you will be clearing up as you go. And when you get to where that thing needs to be housed, you will have a lot more options for what's in its place. All right, so what I'm saying is, physically, there's something in the space that this thing you're resolving over here needs to go. Put it as close as possible, because when you get to that space, you'll resolve the whole thing, and you will have many, many more options for housing, and you'll be a whole lot better as well at deciding, do I need it in the first place? If you can't figure out where something's permanent place is, just touch it or hold it and ask yourself, if I was looking for you, where would the first place be I'd look? And that will always be its permanent place, all right? Because that is always where you're going to look first. I want to have the laundry process flow easily from start to finish. I'd be interested in knowing what's interrupting the flow now, all right? And are there any barriers to accessing where the laundry, the washer and dryer are? I'll give you a few highlights from situations that I've worked with, and sort of at both extremes. I've got I'm working with a client. I've worked with her for some time, and laundry is a big issue, all right? However, she also has some mobility issues, and where the washer and dryer are in the basement, and the stairs down are like a hill. They're quite steep. And so going up and down with a basket becomes a problem. Going down, we've had to negotiate, as silly as it sounds, putting a basket at the bottom of the stairs and throwing the laundry down so that, and sometimes it hits the basket and sometimes it doesn't, but it's down, and throw it hard enough that it doesn't land on the stairs, all right? And then you can pick it up at the other end, and that's a harm reduction approach because you're limiting the risk of an accident, of tripping. And when the basket has to come upstairs, you do it one step at a time with the basket, then you take a step, the basket, you take a step. Now, I have other people who have very, very busy lives, or they've got other health issues, and it's really hard to focus on something that requires so much travel back and forth. Usually our laundry is not in a convenient spot, all right? Usually it's not on one floor. And so just those reminders of going up and down stairs or to inconvenient locations to do laundry is an issue because there are always other things that are more pressing. One of the things, though, that can help is that each person in the family gets 2 laundry baskets, one for soiled and one for clean, all right? And the soiled, wherever you change, if it's the bathroom, it's the bathroom. If it's your bedroom, it's the bedroom. If it's someplace else, that's fine too. But the laundry basket, the soiled laundry basket is there. And when you strip off, nothing goes on the floor. It goes right in the basket, all right? And then you've got a choice. You can put a load in every day if you have enough laundry, or you can pick one day of the week, and that's laundry day, whatever works for you. But I'd be interested in knowing, what is the barrier? Yes, would love to declutter, but it's overwhelming how much needs to be done. That seems to be a common theme. My dream is to have my friend visit for tea when the home is clean and tidy enough to have a guest. All right. And so how far away are you from that right now? And one of the questions I'd like you to ask yourself, and each person ask themselves, is what level of clean and tidy do you demand? Is there any chance that, will you know it when you get there? Will you ever let it be good enough? All right, will you ever let it be good enough? And the other thing too to consider is, whoever your friends are they perfect? If you went to their house for tea, all right, what would be more important? Tea with your friend, and maybe the house isn't perfect, maybe it's quite a ways off perfect. What would you focus on? All right, now, this is a question of degree, obviously. All right, if you're not comfortable with your environment, what does that mean? Is there any chance, I just want to kind of put a question mark, is there any chance that you might not know it when you see it because you've got perfectionistic standards? I want to feel that I can maintain my focus on my goals and not get sidetracked. All right, that's a good one. So your goals, what would your goals be? And what is sidetracking? Sometimes life has challenges. Sometimes there are health issues. Sometimes there are family issues. Sometimes we get overwhelmed by, as one of our participants said, there's so much, and it's like, I feel the weight of it when I'm trying to make a change. So what is distracting you? All right, what is distracting you? Is it reality? Do you have the right tools? Sometimes, I think I gave you the example before of the kitchen. You know, kitchens are a high traffic area for activities of daily living. And so kitchens feel like constant work, really, for most people. So do you have the right tools? I go into homes and I see people with the prettiest little garbage cans in their kitchens or in their bathrooms. And, you know, I look at it and I think, that's never going to work. Never going to work, because you're going to be making 50 trips a day. All right. That wouldn't hold the leftovers from lunch, let alone. So make sure you've got the right tools before you start questioning yourself or judging yourself. Make sure you've got the right tools. Are you getting distracted because the whole basis for picking up, your goal is requiring you to multitask in order to get it done? Well, you've got to focus. You've got to be able to focus. All right. What will help you? I know, for instance, one of the comorbidities we will talk about, because I'm alarmed at how many people are on the continuum as adults, is ADD, adult ADD and ADHD. Not that you have to tick enough boxes to be diagnosed, but is distractibility a factor for you? Do you have financial worries so that you constantly have that sapping your energy? Do you have lifestyle issues that just are onerous and you're trying to balance those? All right. What is distracting you? All right. Some people, I was going to mention about the ADD and ADHD, sometimes you need to distract yourself with something. It could be, you know, having ear pods in and listening to music. It could be listening to motivational tapes. It could be listening to your favorite energizing music. It could be, you could tape something and make your own affirmations and be listening to that. All right. What do you need? When you get distracted, and you notice it the next time, stop yourself right away and say, what just happened? What just happened here that I'm off track? Because I started over here and now I'm over here. And what do I need? What do I need? Maybe you need to just, you know, kind of write a note on your hand. Stick with it. One thing at a time. Whatever you need. All right, give it to yourself. Clean up the basement so we can finish it and make some extra living space. That is true. And so what does cleaning up the basement look like? I've just had to do that. We took a powder room and turned it into another bathroom, and I took up this whole part of our basement and turned it into a much larger office so that I can spread out. Well, it meant there were a number of things that had to go. All right. That was just a sad truth. And did I want to let the dining room set go? No, I didn't really want to let the dining room set go, but the reality was I didn't need the dining room set as much as I wanted this. All right. And I have some more things now as I'm moving things around in the house. And some of them are going to have to find new homes, and they will. So what are the things and how do you decide what to let go of? All right. Or to resolve in some other way. You use the sorting system in the book. Okay. Every single thing you have, if it's still in your home, you are giving enough importance to it and meaning to hold on to it. Right? It fits somewhere on that continuum from 1 to 10. And that continuum is divided into 3 chunks that respect who you are, what you value, and what you're attached to. 1, 2, 3, you know the 1, 2, 3s, because it could be the silliest thing. There is no right and wrong. Could be the silliest thing and you go, oh yeah, no, you're not going anywhere. No, you and me, buddy. Yep, nope. And so as you go along the continuum, the next easiest spot to look at are the 7, 8, 9, 10s. And the 7, 8, 9, 10s, you have a different energy. You know, in a perfect world, you'd want to keep it all. But you're probably looking at it saying something like, I thought I threw that out already. What is that silly thing still doing here? All right. Or you're looking at it and you're going, yeah, no, if something's got to go, it's going to be you, because it sure isn't going to be the 1, 2, 3s. All right. I think I gave you the example of my mother's purse with her wedgies and her glasses, and the vest that she knit for my father with his name with her printing. You know what? That and the Belique Virgin, that's a whole family story. After the people and the animals are out, those are the things. They're coming out with me. And life can have the rest. It's the 4, 5, 6 is where you dance. So in that basement, what are the 4, 5, 6s? And what I would suggest is that you take the best example of number 1. All right, that strongest number 1, because it's going to speak to you. You're going to feel that attachment, that relationship. And you take the best example of number 7. And just like a Geiger counter, run it across and feel the energy. And you're going to know, does that feel like this? Or does that feel like this? 7. And that will make usually a very easy way to identify the 6, 7, 8, 9, 10s. Now you're halfway there. All right. And the 1, 2, 3s, you'll identify the 4s. And fact is, in all of the work I've done for the last 19 years, has it been 19 years? Any environment has been able to fit the 1, 2, 3s and most of the 4s. Now you're down to one pile. All right, the 5s. And the fact is, ask yourself, how much do I need it? Can I get it somewhere else? Is there a way that I can resolve this and maybe still have access to it if it's tools or equipment or that kind of thing? Is there somebody I could share with and they can house it? Or is it time to let it go? And if I need it, life's not perfect, then I will rent it. I will borrow it from somebody. I will meet that need another way. All right? But make decisions you can live with. All right? That's what that strategy does. Because if you make decisions that you can't live with, or you let somebody else tell you what the answer is, you will create a void, and you will fill that void some way. All right? And it probably won't be a healthy way. I want to be able to have friends over, and there isn't room now. Okay. There isn't room now. So the person who sent me that, if you can, I'm going to go through the next 9 messages. Send me an idea of where the things are and what types of things they are, because sometimes there are better ways than other to resolve or compartmentalize the pieces that you need to resolve. So if you could give me a little more information about that, that would be great. Great. I really am a person hiding under a mask to the world. They see that I have it all together and see that I am so organized out of my house, but I'm not. My dream is to really be organized. My boxes are from my childhood, and my kids 18 and 16, and my late husband who died 6 years ago. So when there is unresolved grief, that is really, and I just had something here, the universe provides. There are some key areas in who am I really? And remember, part of what I asked you was, Whose life is it? Remember last week I asked you, whose life is it? Do you have a sense of obligation to someone or something? Is that obligation still appropriate? Are your circumstances the same right now? Are you holding on to things from old obligations, old thinking, but your circumstances are different and they don't actually have the importance today moving forward? You're just feeling the past importance. Is your environment and your life the same? What age are you? All right. What time of life? What is the time of life right now that you need to embrace? Okay, because you can't move forward dragging the past behind you. There isn't room for today. If you're bringing everything, your thinking, your emotions, the troubles, the worries, the loss, all right? Do you need to do some type of grieving? And how much unresolved loss and grief are you carrying with you? And one of the things that's really interesting about this this question, and thank you for it, is that you're mentioning a deceased spouse, okay, who died 6 years ago, and you're also including boxes that are from your childhood, and my kids 18 and 16. And so, is there any part of that launching period when we launch our children, all right, and we feel the beginning or the rumblings of empty nest, and that is where the happiest times were, or the most fulfilling times were, the memories you want to hold on to, all right, and your children are getting ready to leave and your identity is changing. Do you know how to be a mother? You're always going to be a mother. Do you know how to be a mother when your children aren't living at home? Maybe they're away at school, or you're just feeling the rumblings of that identity shift. Who are you? Who are you really? All right. And 16 and 18, they're boxes. I do remember every year our daughter came home from university. She came home with a box, and it didn't always leave when it was time. When she went back, and 23 years later in the house, I was like, what? I have to move this house now, and I've got to go through things that are like 15 years old because we had a big basement. Who knew? And in going through it, sometimes give yourself the time, but do make it a focus if that's what you need, because you may help yourself through that transition, all right, and the grief. And know that the days ahead are also rich. And you ask your 16 and 18-year-olds what they want to hold on to, and then make sure that they take it with them, all right, so that you don't become the curator of their lives. And I'm wondering whether a part of mentioning your husband who died 6 years ago, is there unresolved grief that you need to go through? And one of the services that's free that does wonderful work is Bereaved Families of Ontario. All right. If you're still feeling that like loss to an extent that it overwhelms you or overtakes you, right, still more acute than is helpful for you, please contact Bereaved Families of Ontario and attend some of their workshops. Join a group. So one of the pieces I wanted to bring up, which is interesting, so thank you for this question, is how long ago is the loss that you're still feeling? And is your level of grief helping you resolve the loss? how can that person remain alive through you? One of the things when you lose important people that we all can do is to remember that, what about that person? Pick 3 qualities about that person that you love, respect, and you will miss, and incorporate them into your own ethic, into your own life, and they live on through you. And keep the stories alive of family times together for your children. Those are stories that will support them, that they will use to remember and remind that the family is still a family, even though a member has passed. And you won't forget, all right? Those memories are here, and you don't need the things. You don't need to hold on to those things to keep that memory alive in you. Pick a very few things that are the essence of what you value, not what you miss and you've lost, okay? They are the essence of it, and keep those front and center. My mom's purse, her glasses, her wedgie shoes, and my dad's vest is hanging in my closet. Most of the rest of the things are gone, but everything, and the Belite Virgin, you have to hear that family story sometime. That Belite Virgin, okay, is on my dressing table. And when I see it, I think, yeah, whew, yeah. And it's like they're with you, all right? So keep them alive through you, all right? Boxes of Christmas and Halloween decorations, clothes, books, photos, old trophies, and bedding, all right? So boxes of Christmas. One of the things that you could do, particularly with seasonal decorations, is do not an inventory of the things, all right? Do an inventory off season where you would put Christmas decorations, all right? So don't be triggered by the item. All the qualities are going to trigger you, and you're going, oh, I remember that, oh yeah, you know, and that was, and you'll be in the story, you'll be in the narrative. They're there, you can decide about them next. Go around your space and ask yourself, where will I put Christmas decorations? And in the space right now, what would that look like? We downsized from a 4-bedroom, 2-story home with a full basement, all right, to a 3-bedroom bungalow. And one of the things, I'm not a fussy decorator seasonally, with all sort of little things. It was a tradition in our family. My grandchildren and I would go out every Christmas and we would buy another nutcracker. So my grandchildren are now 23 and 22, and that only stopped probably when they were 20. So we had quite a few nutcrackers. And in the 4-bedroom, 2-story house, there was room for them, all right? And they were easy to put away. They were easy to take out. They were easy to store. And then the first Christmas came here, and I tried to haul them out, and I tried to put them, and I realized there's not going to be room. Which ones do I like the most? Never intending to get rid of the others. I'll find space for them, and I don't hoard, right? And so this year, I took out about 6, and all the others went to the Hub and to the Salvation Army. And it's funny, people's reactions, okay? You don't have to hoard to have that reaction. It's very human. There was my husband watching the nutcrackers. He didn't care about the nutcrackers. That wasn't his thing, okay? He never remarked on them when they were out. He was saying, where are all the nutcrackers going? And of course, he said, you know, how much money did you spend on all of that? And I said, yeah, but you know what? That was entertainment. I've had the entertainment. We've had the entertainment. We have the memories. The kids have memories of going out with me and picking a nutcracker. I got my money's worth. All right. And now we're down to 6 nutcrackers. All right. So the other thing then to do once you do your inventory of where you're going to put these Halloween decorations, and please don't let them be Halloween decorations that make kids scream and cry. Okay. That's not funny. The Christmas decorations, where are they going to go? The Halloween decorations, where are they going to go? And then go and find the decorations among your collection that you like the most and fit the spaces you now have. And not just that, but the energy you have to haul all this stuff out. And then what, 6-8 weeks later, haul it all back in. All right? Is that the way you want to spend your time and your life? If it is, pick the best and let the others go. Now, as far as clothes are interesting. If you've got them piled away or folded away, put away somewhere, and when you pull them out, you are not immediately drawn to them. You wouldn't be proud to wear them. I would suggest somebody else would be grateful to have them. All right. Pick the 1, 2, 3s. Take that sorting process, scaling and sorting process that I outlined in the book and apply it to the clothes as well. Do they fit? Now, for some body types, it's okay to have a size up and a size down because you're the type of body type that your weight fluctuates. If that's your reality, let yourself do that, all right? But only keep the things you would be proud to be seen in, all right? Let the other things go. Books are tough. I mean, we're going to do a whole workshop, a whole podcast on books, photos, and paper, all right? Bedding is interesting too. So is it bedding that you change seasonally, like your summer duvet, your winter duvet, your spring duvet, your this duvet? Is it that kind of bedding, or do you hold on to old bedding that is never going to pass the choice test? All right. Look around and see reasonably, do you have a need? Where do you identify the need? Where do I have a need for any bedding? And how much do I have? When downsizing, one of the things that I decided to do, it's just something to think about, you may have your own solution, is that each bed in each room gets 2 sets of sheets, one that's on and one that's ready to go on. It's either in the wash on its way to being folded, and that bedding is kept in the closet of the room where it goes. And that includes pillow slips, mattress cover, duvet, whatever. All right. And yeah, there may be a need. If you keep some things in your home and you cover them, you can use large sheets for dust covers, but there's only so many things you need to cover, right? There's only so many, and just try really hard not to talk yourself into needing to rip it up for cleaning cloths. All right, there's a limit. What's the limit? Okay, clean up my basement so we can finish it and make some more living space. Okay, that was the second one, the second person. All right. I want to lose weight, but really, I think I need to learn to stand up for myself. Yes, you do. Yes, you do. Love myself enough to make the right choices rather than feeling a need to eat and feed myself some love or a substitute for love. So my dream is to make myself be important enough that I make the right choices. Right now, I'm at a reactive level. I feel hungry, but am something else, and I don't try to figure it out. I just want to eat something, and whatever I choose does not satisfy the need. So really, I need to learn to listen to myself better. Yes, you do. And sorry, my mouse back in. And make my needs the priority. Start with your needs, all right? If nothing changes, unless you're putting your health in jeopardy, like imminent jeopardy, if nothing changes, you are good enough just the way you are. You are worthy of love. You are worthy of respect. You giving it to yourself and others, expecting others to do the same. All right? You don't need to be any particular weight, any particular look to be worthy. And start with your needs. One of the other things, though, is look at the science. Unless you have a disease like diabetes or some other medical condition that you need to factor in to nutrition, look at the science. Look at the science of food. There's a lot on right now. I would suggest that you look at something like the obesity code. I read that and just realized the loop that I was creating for myself. And I'm going to share with you this morning, I just broke the 35-pound limit. Yeah, woo woo. And there will be more, but I'm doing it slowly, patiently, and with love and respect for myself. All right. And I did it 1 pound at a time. And if you need support, get the support you need, but have it be based on science. Learn the science first so that you can discriminate the right kind of support for you. All right. And what I was told and what I was taught, and I'm being coached on by somebody, is there are 2 ways to mobilize fuel, to mobilize energy. And one is sugar. And these are natural to your system. All right. Now, I'm not an expert. I'm just the recipient of what I think has been very effective information. I pass it on. I'm not advising you. Just look at the science and apply it to your life. One is sugar, one is fat. All right. And if you can get yourself into a fat burning mode by withdrawing the sugars in your life, then your body will naturally start to burn the fat, and you will feel great. All right. Now, that week or 2 that you are withdrawing from sugar is not the highlight of your life. All right. But I just advise you to consider that some of the choices you may be making in the short run may be keeping you in that your body demanding the carbs and the sugar. Okay. But talk to your doctor, and always work from the science of it, because your body is just a machine that operates on fuel, and you need to understand it. All right. Okay. I'm always called the Girl Scout, as I always have things out of my home organized and thought out, right down to wet napkins at a campfire. Well, there's nothing wrong with that. Napkins at a campfire, you could probably charge a nickel for them and make them pay for themselves. They're very useful. So one of the things that I want to remark here is, just because this is maybe one of the insidious ways that we undercut ourselves. Okay, we make ourselves feel like a fraud. in some ways, or as though we're passing. Just because you're really good at one thing or one type of thing, or that is your image, okay? If it's your image, it's publicly, it's probably because you are legitimately good at that. Own it. Just because on the other side at home or in another aspect of your life, you're not stellar, doesn't mean that you're passing, or that in some way you're being a fraud, or you're being disingenuous. Doesn't say anything negative about you. Own the positives, relish them, be proud of them. And it's okay to be dissatisfied with the other side and say, no, you know what? I don't need to be really good at everything. Okay, it's okay to have strengths and challenges, just so long as the challenges aren't undermining your dreams and your goals or your self-esteem. My A-list needs self-care. Yes. Quietness. Yes. Not letting toxicity enter my life. And so one of the things there that I'd like to kind of highlight is we don't actually have control, okay, over what enters our life. But we do have a lot of influence over the meaning we give it, how we engage or get triggered by it or react to it. All right. So when I call it nonsense, toxicity, when nonsense comes into your life or toxicity, all right, have your antenna up, know who you are, remember what you're worth and what your life is, what you want your life to be. All right. And what are your needs? And make sure that toxicity or the nonsense of others, the games and nonsense of others, you listen to the antenna. All right. And all you have to do is be peaceful, take a deep breath, remind yourself who you are, what you're worth. You don't have to be perfect. You don't even have to be 100% without fault or right. All right. Simply withdraw and don't engage. There are two ways to handle that kind of conflict. All right. You can fight it, but you have to engage to fight it. And then you're in the game. You're caught up in the game. And the other way is to turn your back and walk away. And even if physically you can't withdraw for whatever reason, maybe these are people in your life or people that you have to interact with, all right? You simply listen to your antenna. This is nonsense, all right? No, I'm not spending any energy on this today. I'm sorry you're in that state. If there was anything I could do to help, all right, without engaging and getting caught up in the game. All right, I'm not playing that game. I don't get today back. I don't get yesterday back. All right, and I'm sure not wasting today with games and nonsense and toxicity. It's okay to say, one of the other things I wanted, just let me see if I can find it here. Setting boundaries. Did the universe provide or what? I swear. Just before, as I was sitting there, I think, what do I want to talk about today? We did a little on grief, okay? And we will do other podcasts on grief as well. And I may, if I can, bring a grief counselor on to talk to us, because I did a podcast for them in New York City, and maybe Jim and I, now that we're going to be using Vimeo, will record an interview with them, and we'll include it. So what is a boundary? A boundary is an invisible barrier between you and other people. It limits what goes on beyond which you will not go for, and beyond where others are not welcome. It is healthy to have a good sense of where your feelings and opinions start and stop, and where the other person's feelings and opinions start and stop. Don't compete for who is right. Don't justify yourself. You are entitled to your own opinions. Try to make them as informed as possible. It's especially important to know how to set boundaries with difficult people, particularly with those individuals who are critical, controlling, manipulative, demanding, or aggressive. These are some cheat sheets. I'm going to read them really slowly, okay? How do I communicate my boundaries to other people? I can use words like interesting. I don't feel the same. That's not my experience. That hasn't been my experience. All right? I have a problem with that. I don't want to. Thank you, but no. This is what I need. If it is hard, this is a good one. Just give them a heads up. This is hard for me to say, but, all right? And don't justify yourself. Don't compete for who's right. And don't let them set that game up. That can be a very manipulative stance by some people. I understand your point of view, but that hasn't been my experience. I feel uncomfortable about. Yes, actually, I do mind. I'd prefer not to. And then just be quiet. Just be quiet. Leave them with silence. It's important to me that. I find that unacceptable. Now, you're probably moving into fairly self-assertive when you say that. I guess we see it differently. And then, who do I need to be? And what do I need to help myself establish clear boundaries? Are there particular people that I need to prepare? Practice in front of the mirror. Practice in front of the mirror what you want to say so that it comes to you and you develop a level of comfort and confidence with it and know that it's perfectly all right. And some people won't like you, and that too will be a gift. All right? You can pay too high a price for acceptance and inclusion. It's okay to be whoever you are. All right. Yes, a dream to have people in my house. I have hid behind the clutter and hoarding for far too long. I'd be really interested to know, maybe for the next show, what types of things you're talking about representing the clutter, because all piles are not the same and they can't be approached the same way. All right, and I want this to be practical and effective for everybody. And where are the piles? Where is the clutter and the hoarding occurring? Maybe we can start by helping to strategize a harm reduction approach so that you don't have to solve the whole problem, all right, in order to get some of what you want and need. To start, dream, healthy food, more sleep. Sleep is fundamental. And good quality sleep is fundamental, all right? There's a whole science around sleep. You don't have to be a scientist to know it. And the other thing too is, do you have the right equipment? Do you have the right equipment? If you are waking up continually tired and worn out, like you've worked all night, Do you have a sleep disorder? Call your doctor. That's the great thing about the Canadian healthcare system. Yes, we have lineups, but everybody's got the right to be in one. All right? Go and get a sleep study done. All right? And find out, do you need a CPAP machine? And if you do, it will make a significant difference to you. All right? And reclaim life. So not spending so much time and energy on reclaiming and reorganizing space with option to move and downsize and resuming interests. Yes, those are promises you should make to yourself. Let's work toward that. You know who you are. Let's work toward that, because that will help everybody who attends this podcast. Send me more information to my email address. Let's get that organized in a practical way and deal with it in coming sessions. My B needs, to take me to healthy, loving relationship, healthy physical body, my home, and to become my home. Yes, I'm a great procrastinator. That's okay. You could do things that are worse. All right. So no self-blame. But we will be doing a number, like a whole series of podcasts on procrastination. And I'm going to see if it's possible. I can't promise this, okay? But I'm going to see if it's possible to get Jane Burka and or Lenora Ewan, who wrote that book, to be a guest on the podcast, all right? Because she is a wonder. And if you don't have that book, where is my book? Here it is, right? This is the book. This is the Bible. Jane Burka, B-U-R-K-A, Lenora Ewan, Y-U-E-N. Okay. Okay. Now let's see here. Did I just change? My seamless dreams. Live in the country. Meaningful travel experiences and work with animals. That would be great. My dogs, and I'm babysitting 2 cats. We have a cat and 2 dogs. It's like Wild Kingdom here these days. But they are so unconditionally loving and accepting. It's wonderful. Yeah. Except when I have to get the cat out of my bedroom at night and he doesn't want to leave. That's becoming a bit of a skit. But the best things come sometimes with a tiny cost. I'm the worst. Rather than do anything but declutter, but it needs to be done. Yes, that is avoidance. And so sometimes, to everyone, thank you, Ingrid. That can come from a sense of being overwhelmed. All right. And one of the podcasts, I don't know whether you happen to attend, but one of the podcasts was about being overwhelmed and how to start changing that up. All right. Feeling in control of my home and belongings and being able to make healthy decisions about items that trickle to me from my parents. Okay. So they are clearing their house out, right, to your house. They both experienced hoarding. All right, keeping my holding on to tendencies. Now that's where that comment came. Do you have a sense of obligation to someone or something? So there are 23 more messages, and what we've run over, what I'm going to do is we're going to keep those messages because Jim recorded this, and we're going to address those messages as well. But if you sent a message and it's about a practical issue like how to get past being overwhelmed, how to work with certain types of collections or clutter, then please send me more information, all right? The type of clutter determines the type of approach. And some strategies are better than others. So I'm going to wind up for now, and I'll see you next week. And I will answer the rest of the questions, and we'll try to make it practical. And when those questions, the more information on the questions will also help me to bring along some tools, all right, that you can use. And I can give them to Jim, and he can post them, and then you can screenshot them and use them. Okay? So you take care, have a great week, and we'll see you next Wednesday.